Assalamu alaikum. This is me, Dr. Amna, and today's topic is Constitutional Amendment to 1973 Constitution from 1 to 12. First Amendment to 1973 Constitution was done in 1974 that redefined the boundaries of Pakistan and removed the references to East Pakistan. East Pakistan was part of Pakistan, but that was separated as a result of civil war and Indian attack on Pakistan. But 1973 Constitution did not accept it, and there was written that after the Tamil period gets over, this part will again join Pakistan. But when in 1974, government of Pakistan recognized East Pakistan as a separate state of Bangladesh, so we have to do this constitutional amendment. And now Pakistan was just confined to the West Pakistan. Second constitutional amendment defined Muslim and declared all those who are not believing on the finality of the prophethood of Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam were declared as non-Muslims and Ahmadis. The third constitutional amendment, it was passed in 1975, extended the period of preventive detention. Preventive detention means that if somebody is suspected of breaching of law or possibility of creating brawl and unrest in the society or some damage to the society or some illegal activity can be detained by the authorities. So it was also already there that such person can be detained, but this constitutional amendment that extended the period of detention. Similarly, Fourth Amendment that was passed next year, it decreased the additional seat for minorities, and it also deprived courts to grant bail to any person who was detained under any preventive detention. It means that it curtailed the powers of the court to bail out the person who was in preventive detention by the authorities. So it increased the power of executive and decreased the power of judiciary. Fifth constitutional amendment, it also widened the scope of restriction on High Court. So it's a series of curtailing the powers of apex judiciary. Sixth Amendment, it provided Chief Justice age. Supreme Court Chief Justice would be retired at the age of 65 and High Court Chief Justice would be retired at the age of 62 under this amendment. Now we come to the Seventh Amendment. Seventh Amendment was enacted in 1977. It was the last constitutional amendment done by Bhutto government. And it enabled Prime Minister to obtain a vote of confidence whenever is required by the people of Pakistan. Now we come to the eighth constitutional amendment. It was not done by any democratic government. It was actually forced upon the National Assembly by a dictator. Normally, all over the world, whenever there is a martial law government, when they are going to end their rule, they want to have some power sharing arrangement because they never wanted to transfer power fully. So that power sharing arrangement was made by General Ziaul Haq in the form of RCO, Restoration of Constitutional Order, in 1984. After that, he conducted referendum to become the president of Pakistan in uniform. That was also against the constitution of 1973. Then he conducted partyless elections in 1985. That was again a violation of the constitution that provides citizen of Pakistan right of affiliation, right of association, and right of making any political organization. But he deprived people and he conducted partyless elections. And when the assembly came into being, he put that RCO before the assembly and bargained that if they are not going to pass this RCO, then he is not going to lift martial law. So, as a bargaining chip, some of the clauses were discussed, and only National Security Council proposal was rejected. All others were passed. So, this constitutional amendment made 18 clauses of the Constitution amended. The major drawback or the major bad impact of this amendment was the Constitutional Amendment 58(2)(b) that provided the president powers to dissolve National Assembly at his own discretion. Whenever he considered that assembly is not performing well, government is not working well, that has lost its popularity, and people want to give a new mandate according to his understanding, he can dissolve National Assembly. And this power was actually instituted to manage the control of military from behind the scene over the civilian government through a single person, that is the President of Pakistan. And ironically, the powers of the president, which were increased in a manner that prime minister became the senior minister of the president. So it changed the face of constitution of Pakistan from parliamentary form of government to a semi-parliamentary form of government, rather a hybrid presidential form of government. And all the powers given to the president in this constitution cannot be challenged to any of the court of law. That was another irony. Now we come to the ninth constitutional amendment. It never became part of constitution, but since the number is allotted to a constitutional amendment, it is discussed as a bill of that constitutional amendment. And the next constitutional amendment gets the new number. So this was presented in the Senate and it was passed. Then when it was passed through National Assembly for discussion, before that General Ziaul Haq dissolved the National Assembly. So this amendment was not passed, and this constitutional amendment says that Quran and Sunnah shall be the supreme law and source of guidance for legislation and policy making. Actually, General Zia dissolved the National Assembly and then he wanted to have some legitimacy for continuation of his rule after dissolving the National Assembly, because till that time martial law was lifted and he had no justification to continue his rule without conducting new elections within 90 days.